Hey everyone, my name is Janelle Summers and this is the Team Hardcore Training Call. Today is Wednesday. No, it's not. It's Thursday, August 3rd. So we're at the very beginning of the month. You've got the entire month. So forget whatever happened the last few months. You've got a whole new fresh month to really crush it and really get out there, reach people, connect with people, and share solutions with them. Really, sometimes we get overwhelmed with everything that's going on and everything that we could or should be doing. And it can be really tough to just kind of dial in and stay focused and not get distracted. When you really think about it, think about your own journey. And if you're not on a journey, you need to make that decision to get on a journey today. Set some goals, start a new program. I'm doing Shift Shop, loving it. I hope you are too, but if it's some other program, that's cool too. Make sure that you set your own goals and you really stay true to your journey so that you can be going through that. And when you do that, you'll feel that much more likely to want to help other people because you feel good about what you're doing. It just becomes so much more natural for you to do that. So I wanted to just remind you that this is the Team Cup month, but even if you aren't part of a Team Cup, just commit to yourself that you're going to have a strong month. You can still, if you didn't make it in time for registration or you didn't find a team in time, instead of just saying, oh, well, I guess I'm not a part of this, find someone or a couple other people that you can team up with. On our Coach Success page, there are thousands of other coaches on that page, and there are tons who didn't make it in time for a Team Cup or didn't find a team. Partner up with one or two other coaches, maybe even three other coaches, and do your own Team Cup, right? Who cares? Do your own Team Cup, set some goals, do the 50 go for no spreadsheet or whatever it may be that you want to set goals for yourself, and have an amazing month. Show everyone that you don't need to be technically a part of a Team Cup to have an amazing month, right? The other thing I wanted to make sure you remember to do is to watch the UK training that I did like 2 weeks ago, because the UK launch isn't happening until October 19th, and I know you guys are excited about that, but if you're waiting until October to leverage that, you're making a huge mistake. You should be leveraging that now. And some of you might be thinking, yeah, but I don't know what to do or where to begin or who to talk to or blah, blah, blah. Watch that training. Watch that training I did 2 weeks ago. It's not a long training. And after you've watched it, if you still have questions, just ask me. Ask me, because I'm here to help. I am super excited about the excitement the UK has for this business opportunity. They are so excited, you guys. They want to join people who are excited. Okay, so if you're excited about this business, which I'm assuming you are, or you wouldn't be on this training, then they're looking for you. They're literally looking for you. This is a huge opportunity. So ask questions. If there's anything about that training that didn't make sense, ask questions. Definitely it's a time where Facebook boosted posts or ads, I think, are something to be doing. Even if your like page doesn't get a whole lot of traction or whatever, that's what ads and boosts are for. Yes, you have to pay. They call it pay to play, but that's a huge opportunity for you. If you do those ads and boosts right, you can really get a ton of traction and great prospects from the UK. They are Beachbody fans. They love Pio over there. They love Insanity and Shaun T. They love Beachbody. So of course, this is a huge opportunity. If you want to see one of the posts that I recently did that I boosted to the UK, you can go to my like page, which of course is facebook.com/Janelle Summers. That's my like page. My personal page and my like page are very hard to tell apart. My husband's always like, which one is this? They're hard to tell apart. But if you go to that link, facebook.com/Janelle Summers, you will see that is my like page. And if you scroll down just a couple of posts, you'll see the one I did talking about the fact that those people who want to become a coach for the UK, that they could actually be engaged in some pre-training before the launch. Something very simple to do. Any of you could do it. I mean, when it comes to pre-training, people just want to know the basics, right? Because they haven't even joined yet. So I'm just putting together a couple like 5-minute trainings, and all of you will have access to this. It's all going to be on my JanelleSummers.com site. So you'll tell your prospects just to log in with Team Hardcore and the Password Fitness, and they can access all of those trainings, 5-minute trainings. They're not there yet. I'm just getting started on them now, but they will be there in probably a couple of weeks. But even if you wanted to do your own, you could do that too. But you can see that post on my like page, just so you can see, like, you know, how I worded it and the picture I used. Of course, do not copy that, because we all know that you need to do you, and you need to have your own words, and you need to say what's true to you and attract your people, et cetera, et cetera. But just, you know, if you want to see an idea, you can check that out. And so I just boosted it to a targeted audience of people who love PiYo and Shaun T and women, and you know, pretty simple actually. But yeah, I spent some money on it because I have every belief that that money is going to come back. I have no problem investing in these UK Beachbody fans. I think they're going to be amazing coaches and really do well in this business, and really spreading the love of Beachbody and health and fitness. So so did I spend 10 or 20 or 30 bucks on it? No, I spent a lot more, and that's why you will see it got a lot of traction. You have to decide what your budget is, but realize that the majority of people, the majority of coaches do spend like 20, 30 bucks on an ad. And so if you do that, you're competing with thousands of other coaches. If you go beyond that and spend more, then you're definitely going to get a lot more traction. So we are having Dr. Michaela Sarno speak on this call, and the topic of the call is beliefs and your success. And she has just sent me a text. She had an emergency call from one of her clients this morning. And so she just sent me a text. She's a little confused. Let me text her back real quick. Sorry. All right, sorry you guys, but you know, this is real life, and she is a very important doctor, and she had an emergency from one of her clients, and I hope everything's okay. Okay. It's confusing because these are YouTube live events, and most people just use Zoom. But back when I needed to do these, Zoom couldn't host as many people as we needed to host. And so I went to YouTube live events. And so whenever I send that link, it says it's a Google Hangout, because YouTube Live uses Google Hangout, but you're not supposed to go into Google Hangout. And she had gone into Google Hangout. So she's trying to get on the live call right now. She'll be here in just a second. So anyways, any second now she'll be on. So I just wanted to reiterate the importance of going over that UK training that I did a couple of weeks ago, found on my website, my training site, JanelleSummers.com. That's open to all my downline and anyone else that happens to get on these trainings. And the login is Team Hardcore, all one word, all lowercase, and the password is fitness. The other thing I wanted to say is I really hope that you watched I think it was last week's training with Jamie and his wife, Kim Fitzpatrick. Such an amazing training. And they talked about compassion, courage, and consistency. Very important training to watch. And another, maybe one of my favorite trainings recently was with Ruth Schroner. That training was maybe 2 weeks ago, and I think that one should be up on my JanelleSummers.com training site, but if it's not, it's definitely in that Coach Success group. But her call, I've gotten such great feedback on that one. So powerful. And Ruth has been on and off so far this year, you know, #1 at times in the whole entire network. She's doing some really powerful things, and it would be huge for you to watch that training. It would be huge if you missed it. And it would be a real disservice to your team if you're not letting them know and reminding them to get on these trainings. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start introducing Michaela, but I'm a little worried because she's not on the call yet. So hang tight. She's gonna be here any second. I can just feel it. I'm really good about these things. And I can sense that she's about to pop on this call any second. And let me just say this about Michaela. I've known Michaela for years, met her through my sister Shalene, and the first time that we met was actually in one of Shalene's Turbo Kit classes out in California. I'd flown out there, and she was one of those front row girls, and just like ripped abs and just super high energy and just strong. And I was just like, who is this girl? So anyway, Shalene introduced me to her after class, and that was so many years ago. And Michaela has done so much in her life, even since then, that was probably, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. But since then, what Michaela has accomplished has been unbelievable. And I know it's because of, first of all, and I think she's going to go over this, a lot of her passion in this field that she's in now an expert, comes from her childhood. It worked.
Hi, how's the light?
The lighting's great.
Is it?
We still have everyone on live. Okay, so how did you end up getting on?
You know what? I just went through my, I don't know what security I have right now, but I just went into my preferences and just allowed everything.
Allow it all.
Let it all in. So let me grab it. Let me turn one of my ring lights on so that it'll be a little brighter. Hold on.
Okay, cool. So Michaela, I'm going to go ahead and start introducing you.
Okay.
I've just been chit-chatting away to them.
Okay.
And I just told them about when we first met out in California after going to a turbo class of Shalene's, and that I saw you front row, and I was just like, who is this girl? She kills it. Mm-hmm. But I'll never forget when I first met you, and I was just telling them how much success you've had in these past few years, and it's just been so incredible to watch. So, okay, you guys, let me give Michaela an official introduction. Michaela is an amazing mom and wife. She's a psychotherapist. She's a brain training and mindset expert. She's an EMDR specialist, which stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. She's the creator of online programs and guided courses, such as her End Emotional Eating program and her In-Session program. She's an addiction specialist. She's a skilled interventionist, and she's actually worked and trained with Ken Seeley, which many of you may know from the very popular show, which I absolutely love, Intervention. She is a relationship expert, and she has just been on this mission to help people get unstuck. So with that, Michaela, are you there?
I am. Gosh, did I do all that stuff? Really? Wow.
You did.
It just blows me away too sometimes. I mean, I remember when I was, creating that bio for my website and listing all the things. And sometimes it just blows me away too, to just even hear that lineup, because, one thing I've always been is just very, I may be Dr. Michaela, but I'm always Michaela, yeah. And I always remember where I came from. And I always remember, the struggle. But I'm so in love with what I do that it's not about the lists for me or the accomplishments or things. It's just a way to share my experience when working with people. But in general, it's, when you love what you do, it's just so much more about, those are the things that have helped me become such a rich therapist and do what I do today. So for me, it's just, all of that is just education, education, education. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. And we love that.
Yeah.
I so appreciate that. And okay, so you are on the screen, you are presenting. Do you see yourself on the screen?
I do, very big.
Okay. You look gorgeous. You look gorgeous. And thank you. I know you've probably been through a lot this morning. I know you had an emergency. So I so appreciate you making time for us. So appreciate it.
Of course. It's an honor. Appreciate you asking. So I think we just kind of touched on what would be, I wanted to talk about something that would be valuable for, your listeners. And these are all the, your coaches, correct? Yes. So can you give me kind of an idea of what's the audience that I'm talking to specifically today?
It's everyone. So literally there are some people on this training call who just joined yesterday. And really, this is their day one as being their own CEO, their own new business. And then you have others on the line who have been doing this for years, and some have been doing it for years without success, and some have been doing it for years with major, massive success. So completely have a mixed bag. But I think what we all have in common is we all have our moments of limiting beliefs, and we all need to fully understand understand and be aware of how our beliefs affect our success. And so I think this call is just going to resonate with every single person, whether they're even a Beachbody coach or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought about, the best initial way to kind of, help people in that place, in all of these places. And I think the one subject or topic area that resonates with everybody is confidence. And I don't care how, is that you or me? Oh, I don't care how successful someone is. I think everyone has areas where, they're tested or challenged with their confidence. I don't know anybody. I mean, I suppose there are some that are overconfident, but it's just part of being human. But I think when we're starting anything new, or we've been doing something for a while, we can reach a plateau, and then it's just moving to that next level, because a lot of my clients are entrepreneurs. A lot of them are already successful. And, it's kind of like when you think of, losing weight or changing your diet, and you plateau. And then it's just a matter of trying to get over that last hump. So even if you're someone just starting, it's just getting, over that first hump. And, when we're dealing with confidence, and jump in anytime, if you have any questions with what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
we're dealing with confidence, a lot of times what we tend to do, and it's just part of child development, it's how we start out, and then we get stuck on this path, is we look to other people, which is okay. We look to other people, our mentors, our boss, or whoever it is. We look to them to really kind of guide us, to support us, to give us those kudos, to just help us to believe in ourselves. I always find that that's okay initially. I mean, a lot of therapists will, when a client will say, do you believe me, or do you believe in me? The tactic is, sometimes therapists will say, well, I believe that you believe these things. And I don't think that's a good approach. I think that the ultimate goal is, we want to help people to increase their confidence, to develop more confidence. And I think it's okay to believe in people until and while they're believing in themselves. With that being said, there's a limit to that. It's kind of like a child who looks to their parent, and that their mother looks back at them with that endearing expression in her eyes, and the child learns that she's he or she is good enough, that they're capable, they're all these things. And then as the child grows up, the child now has those beliefs in themselves, so that when they can graduate from high school, they can leave and go into the world and feel confident. But when we don't get that, we move into the next culture, which is school or what have you. And now we're trying to still figure out a way to be good enough, and to be capable, and to be all of these things. So we look for anything to tell us that we're those things, which is maybe we've found this group of friends. Oh, this makes me good enough. Or maybe we've accomplished something like getting a degree. Oh, this tells me that I'm capable, or et cetera, et cetera. So now we've set down this path where these things in our life have defined us, as opposed to where we initially learned those things as we're growing up. And it's more rare than it is often that children will have that type of environment where they will learn that they are those things, because parents aren't perfect. And even if you have the best parents, depending on how you've interpreted certain messages growing up in school, or with family, with friends, you can still develop those core beliefs. So having negative core beliefs isn't something that just those with trauma, or those who have gone through these major experiences. We all have negative and positive beliefs. The trick is learning to become aware that you have them, which ones they are, how they're impacting your life. And gosh, in all the years that I have just studied and researched and done all those things on the list, everything comes down to those core beliefs. It never changes. It's consistent. It all boils down to that. And when we're starting anything new, let's say these coaches that you're working with that are, starting this new endeavor, let's say they don't have those beliefs about themselves. And let's say I've just signed up and I'm a new coach and I've managed to do certain things in my life. I've gotten to this place where I feel confident enough to sign up, but can I do this? Or can I go farther than I am right now? And we get to that place, and here's where defining ourselves based on those first accomplishments or those first friends or the fact that and maybe I lost 20 pounds in college, that made me, worthy and valuable, where people will listen to me. The problem with that is once you've defined yourself by those things, now you must continue to have those things, to be at that weight, to accomplish things in your life in order to keep being capable and to keep being valuable and worthy and all those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you give, you give all of your power away in that sense. So now I've signed up as a coach, and now I'm looking for, if I have learned previously that what makes me these things is my accomplishments, if I don't sign up, 5 coaches in the first month, now I'm not capable anymore. I'm not worthy, because everything's on the line. When your worth and your value and your capabilities are defined by external things, you've got a lot to risk, which is why people don't take risks. Because if my worth's on the line and I've already figured out I've got it because of my weight or my accomplishments, the way I look, my friends, what have you, well, I don't want to take a risk in losing that. So if I do something new and I don't do it well, I'm left with being worthless again. So that's why people don't take risks.
That is so interesting, because there's a lot of go-getters who have had success in a lot of areas of their life, and yet they feel early defeated in a new business. And that explains why that might happen.
Mm-hmm. They just, it's just too much to lose. And so if we've defined ourselves by other people, which is a lot of times with, when you think about, famous people, we, or people are mentors or what have you. If someone believes in us and it's somebody we look up to, well, now we've taken that message we should have gotten from our caregivers and we've placed it on that person. And so as that person continues to support us and build us up, we continue to need to feed into that. And the minute that stops, we aren't able or capable, or it's almost like that mentor, that person becomes that feather in Dumbo's, trunk. And what's so crazy, Janelle, is that people, it's all an illusion. From the very first moment that we leave home or we start defining ourselves by, I got this new pair of Sarah jeans. Do you remember Sarah jeans?
I don't.
Maybe you didn't have them.
Maybe I
We
wouldn't
got
do
the new Guess or the new, whatever it is. The minute we get down that path, most people are stuck on that path for life. And it's so disheartening, because the illusion is that we are already all of those things. When, as we're trying to learn that we're good enough, that we're capable, that we're these things, we have always been worthy and capable. Because if you take anybody on this call, for anyone on this call, if you make a list of everything you've been through in your life, even little things, every obstacle, every challenge, and you made a list of those challenges, maybe it was, having a child, getting through a breakup, getting through high school, whatever it was. Take any one, make a list of those, and then on the right side of each one of those events, list what it took you to get through those things. So maybe it took courage, maybe it took strength, maybe it took somebody who was worthy. If you're in a relationship, you would have to, on some level, know of your worthiness. Maybe it was getting a job, or getting your first coach, which would be the trait of being capable. So if you make a list of all the traits, and that's without judging how you got through it, because a lot of people discount what they've gotten through, because yeah, I got through it, but I was a mess the whole time, and this and that. It doesn't matter, because the fact is you got through it. And so you make a list of those traits. All of those traits, once we have them, we can't lose them. So that's our evidence that if I list all of these things I've been through, and these are the traits it took me to get through them, once you have them, you can't lose them any more than you can lose an epiphany once you have it. And you can't be strong and weak at the same time. So we're already those things. So most people have everything they need in order to be successful and to accomplish anything in their lives, to do things in their lives that a worthy person or valuable person would deem themselves to deserve to have or do. Most people, we're already those things. We just don't know it because of these events in our lives that either did or did not happen, which also goes back to, let's say we didn't learn these things about ourselves. Let's say we did. Let's say I grew up, and let's say I did learn that I am capable or I'm worthy or these things, and then something happens. Well, the distortion is that when these things happen, someone breaks up with us, or we lose a friend, or we get fired, or something happens. That's another illusion or a distortion that because that happened, this must mean I'm not capable. This must mean I'm not worthy. All of these are distortions. Once you are worthy, valuable, you can't lose it. But because we feel those things, if I feel unworthy, it must mean I am. If I feel incapable, it must mean I am. What we feel isn't always the truth. So, but that's what human beings do. We define our feelings. Instead of, when those things happened, what did it mean? It didn't mean you weren't valuable or you weren't worthy or you weren't capable. What it means is just what it was. If I lost a friend, what does it say about me? I lost a friend. If I got fired from a job, what does it say about me? It doesn't say I'm incapable. It says I got fired from a job. Does that make sense? So instead, there's this distortion that I've lost this now. Now what am I going to do? Now I got to try to find it again. Now I got to try to figure out a way to be worthy or capable. And when we start a venture like this, especially with someone we look up to, now we're looking to that person to now I'm worthy again. Now I'm valuable, but I got to have this person, looking and supporting and validating me, because if I don't, then I'm going to lose that again. It's all an illusion. Does all that make sense, what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It totally makes sense to me. I wish I had the viewer chat that I could see right now. I'm dying that I can't see it. You guys, we cannot see your chat. And Michaela, you don't have your view, you can't see their chat either, can you?
If I open up my other laptop, I can. I don't know if that takes a minute.
You should be able to just click right on it. And sorry guys, I don't have a secondary laptop today to see your chat. I would love to see if there's any questions, but it makes complete sense to me. My impression is that everyone is just listening intently and probably feels the same way I do. It makes complete sense. So much of this goes back to our childhood, and that describes why myself and probably others, every now and then, I'm like, am I 12 again? What the heck? Why am I having this feeling, or why do I feel this way? Am I still 12? Like, do we sometimes get stuck? Certain emotions are immature, or I don't know, certain things about us are insecure and are still 12 or still 18.
Yeah. And, I don't want to get too deep on this call because, I could go into these things, but here's what has blown me away in the last, probably the last year or two. And I can see the comments. Hey, Jen Devereaux's on. Here's what's really, and I'll just touch on this, what most people don't realize. And this is crazy. When I see clients all day long, all I see in general is we're all a bunch of little kids in adult zip-up suits, all of us.
Totally.
And I can see both all the time, especially after doing this all these years. And it wasn't until I started working with dissociative clients with identity disorder. And, when they come in and they get triggered, and triggered is when, for those who don't know that term, it's just when something kind of throws us back, when something causes us to feel something that's out of context. All of a sudden we're questioning ourselves, or when what we feel or think is kind of a little bit more than what we should be feeling or thinking in that moment. And we're wondering, well, why did I say that? Or why do I act this way? Or why am I not confident or in that moment when I'm confident all the other times? And we question ourselves that sometimes we can be this certain way, and then other times, why am I this other way? And that goes back to what I learned working with these identity disorder population, and that is that when they get triggered and they dissociate, I literally become maybe their aunt or uncle. My office becomes like their bedroom. So they literally go into a different personality. But what I learned is scientifically, we know that we all dissociate on different levels. When we miss our exit on the freeway, when your spouse is watching the football game and you call his name 10 times and he doesn't hear you, we're daydreaming, but that's a level of dissociation. So when we're acting different ways in different environments with different people, it's because we're dissociated into a different part of our personality. So what we've learned is we've got one personality. We used to think we had many, multiple.
Yeah.
We don't use that term anymore, but the phenomenon still happens. We have one personality instead of many, but that one personality has many parts. So we transition into these different parts of ourselves all day long, which is why sometimes we can, you've seen that person kind of throw a tantrum like a kid, or when we act a certain way, it's because we're in different parts of our personality. And some people are in that younger part of their personality all day long or all throughout their life.
Yeah.
The reason why people don't know it is because there's nothing to tell you that you are in a different part of your personality, but we all are. We're in different personalities, which are just different ages in our life. And when we are constantly or desiring and seeking those things in our life to define us so that we can feel a certain way and believe we can do certain things, we're in these younger parts of our personality. What these younger parts haven't learned is just what I've been talking about, that they are these things. They are good enough. They are valuable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, kind of like I've mentioned, the danger in that is that, when we feel helpless, when we feel powerless, the reason we feel powerless is because we give all of our power away to people that way. We give our power to our mentors. We give our power to our accomplishments. We give all of our power to the way we look, our weight, the number on the scale. And that's just a disheartening thing, because when we give all of our power, when we let people define us, we remain powerless in our lives. And the sad part about it is that's all an illusion. We are already all those things on that list. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. My phone is actually blowing up with people saying, I'm loving this. This makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. So, it's when someone comes into my office and says, I just want to get better. And the first thing I tell them is, well, you're already better. You just don't know it yet because you're probably stuck in a younger part of your personality. Mm-hmm. And, the goal is really to just, it's a process, but in the context of this call and with the people that you're working with, regardless of what we feel, we cannot trust what we feel. You might feel like you can't do it, or you're not in control, or that you're not good enough. You might feel those things, but we can't trust what we feel because our feelings aren't always the truth. And what most people try to do is, when we have anxiety, when we feel these certain things, we try to get rid of those feelings by, feeding into that belief, whatever's making us feel better. But it always starts with a thought. So instead of focusing on the feelings that go with the lack of confidence or the feelings that go with anything, you always want to focus on your thought. Starts with a thought, feeling comes second. What are the thoughts that I'm having? And those thoughts that I'm not going to be able to do this, I need this person in order to do this, I don't have the opportunities as other people have, so I'm going to fail. Whatever those thoughts are, those are the thoughts that are coming from different parts of our personality. And that's why we have that battle in our head. One part says, I can do this. The other part says, no, you can't. Those are the different personalities. And the reason why it's so hard to change that, why we think, well, I already know logically that I'm these positive things. The reason that's so difficult to change and why traditional talk therapy isn't really effective for that is because those younger parts of our personality and those core beliefs are in your subconscious mind. So when you say things to yourself like, I know I can do this, I know I've got this, all you're doing is talking to the part of your personality that's in the present. And that part of your personality already knows these things, instead of the part of your personality, the core beliefs that are in your subconscious mind, that younger self. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but how do we access the younger self?
Well, how do you access
you on the daily?
I'm trying to think in the easiest way. You don't have to access it. Your younger self is there all the time. Okay. And you can tell it's your younger self because when what you think and what you feel doesn't make sense in the moment, mm-hmm. like you're feeling anxiety for no reason, mm-hmm. you feel unsafe and you're looking around thinking, well, there's nothing that tells me I'm unsafe, but why do I feel this? When your thoughts are telling you can't do something, but you know you can, that's your younger self. Your younger self represents all those negative feelings. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So that younger self is there all the time. Your thoughts are your adult self. Your feelings are the younger self. So whenever you have those bad feelings, you might not believe it, but you want to tap into, okay, I might not believe this, but what's the more logical truth in this situation? What's the logical response? What's the truth? I may feel incapable, but that can't be true because I did all of these things in the past. So I know that I'm capable in this moment. And when you continue to counter those negative thoughts, the feelings are going to eventually change because you're really reteaching, reparenting that younger part of yourself. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Okay, I get it. And I just took a ton of notes on that too. Okay, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, this is so helpful and mind-blowing. And this is a different training than I know that we've ever had. So this is really, really powerful information. Love it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, are you able to see if we have any other questions? I don't know if you still have more or.
I see a lot. Boy, since we're all those things on the list, what's your best recommendation to know that, to work on that? Remind yourself on that, any specific, yes. When I went through this process, this journey of self-exploration, just evolving, and I actually, went through the process of listing all the things I've been through in my life and all the things it took. I would leave that piece of paper on my passenger seat of my vehicle. And even if I was in a good mood the next morning on the way to the office or wherever I was going, I would look over at that list and I would just repeat to myself every day, who I am today is all of these things. And I would just read off all the positive traits. And any other time that I'm not those things or feeling those things, I'm just living in the memory. I'm just in the younger part. Yes. And that those memories aren't real anymore because it's not happening anymore. So it's a matter of knowing who you are today, as opposed to when you're in these younger parts, your perception's going to be skewed. And you're not going to know you're in a younger part. So if you're in the younger part, your perception is seeing the current circumstances from the past. So you're going to believe it. So you want to constantly keep shifting your perception to the present, which is reminding yourself, who I am today is all these things, because once you're these things, you can't lose them later. So any other times when I'm not believing or feeling capable or good enough or worthy, I must just be in the memory and this is going to pass. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense and just gives me so much clarity because I have so much confidence in certain situations. And then other times I'm like, what? Wait a second. Why do I suddenly feel like an inch big? Or why, like I said, why do I feel like I'm 12 all of a sudden? Or why do I feel, shy again all of a sudden? Just different. And you're exactly right. I'm going back to those feelings, which aren't the truth. And so I need to just take it back to, focusing on my thoughts that are in the present and what makes sense and what I already know to be true. This
Hmm.
is huge. This is huge. I have no doubt that everyone is just like so thankful that you're on this call right now.
Oh, I love talking about this. It's an honor, and I'm just kind of looking over at the notes. But
And where
I
can we find you? Sorry, go ahead.
nope. Wait, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I know that after this call, most people probably already do follow you, but just in case they don't, where's the best place for them to be following you, would you say, Michaela?
Well, you can go to my website, drmichaela.com. It's a website that it's my old website, my current one. New one's going to be relaunching. So if you go to drmichaela.com, you might not be able to, certain things might not work on it, but we're literally, days away where they'll be able to, log into a lot of the free content, a lot of the updates. So just keep that website in mind. They can also go, yeah, once you're there, a lot of this stuff I talk about in my in-session program, because a lot of people really struggled with, well, how do I learn more about these parts of myself that keep stepping in and getting in the way? How do I develop more of that? And I remember searching online for just different books, resources, and to date, there really isn't a lot. And the only things I found were these books on your, what is it called, your child self or what have you. And I think that term's been really jaded from years of therapy and people not really understanding that. So I created literally just steps to understanding everything I'm talking about, how to identify your parts, how to create your own map to know exactly what negative core beliefs you hold in your subconscious mind, which anybody can do.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
and just really understand, because once you get what's happening,
Mhm.
everything makes sense. And in the moments when you feel that lack of confidence or whatever it is that's happening, instead of buying into that all the time, which is what people do, you immediately know what's happening, what to tell yourself, and most importantly, how to counter it in a way that it's actually going to change it, as opposed to I'm going to have to do this for the rest of my life. How to
Yeah.
how to how to eliminate it. Does that make sense?
Right. That makes complete sense. That's awesome. So you guys, drmichaela.com. Is that right, Michaela? drmichaela.com?
Yep.
drmichaela.com. And I'm sure she has a wealth of resources on there, and you can look into some of her online programs there as well. Like I said, with her introduction, in case any of you missed it, I mean, she's been the creator of several online programs and guided courses, one of which End Emotional Eating. And I know that there are a lot of us coaches who have gotten into coaching because of struggles that we've had with nutrition or eating disorders and those kinds of things, emotional eating, those kinds of things. So I know that what we do as coaches is we help other people, but there's no doubt about it that we need help ourselves. And sometimes we feel stuck, and sometimes we feel like sometimes we are actually looking to outside sources to define us, and that's not good. And that's what Michaela's been going over. And Michaela, I just cannot thank you enough. I don't know if there's any other questions you wanted to answer before we close it out, or if we're good.
Um, well, I no, I mean, there's tons of questions. I think the one thing that I really want people, if I may,
Absolutely.
the one thing I want to leave people is this a pretty big thing? Is that we know this, but we don't. A lot of the times we don't move. When I told you that I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, that people that are already kind of successful in their own right. I've worked with a lot of top coaches, a lot of gurus, a lot of leaders in the industry, and it's because they've managed to get to a certain place, but they can't get over the hump, as well as people just starting out. And there is this distortion that we have, that if I don't do these things, then I can avoid being rejected. I can avoid disappointments. I can avoid any losses. That's why people kind of get, that deer in the headlights, where I'm going to stop right here because I feel okay about myself now. I feel okay about, where I'm at and what I'm doing, but I just don't want to go further. And it's because we believe on some level that if we don't do those things, we can avoid rejection, loss, and disappointment. It's important to always be mindful that disappointments are part of life. They're going to happen. And as well as good things are going to happen. Rejection is going to happen whether you put yourself out there or you hide in the closet and you're in your bedroom at home. You can still be rejected. Same with loss. So they're going to happen. We want disappointments to happen. We want to look forward to those things because without them, we cannot evolve as human beings. So as you go through your business, as you go through this process, you want to anticipate that I'm not going to be shocked when these things happen. I'm not going to be shocked every time I get shot down or someone's not interested or whatever the case is. It's all part of the process. It has to happen. Whether I do this business or not, if I decide to quit and I'm not a coach or I give up, I'm still going to be rejected and I'm still going to have loss and there's still going to be disappointments. Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, what you just said, I'm going to need to capture that in a quote or something. That was so on point. So on point. I'm so glad you said that.
It's huge. When this fire happened a couple of years ago, it's why I didn't freak out, because it was just a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And what am I being angry at a fireplace? So, for those who don't know, I was in a fire a couple of years ago, but I was kind of surprised. I'd finally gotten to the place in my life where in my head, when things happen, once you embrace the fact that it's supposed to happen.
Yes.
We're supposed to have these disappointments.
In order to grow and evolve. And if we don't, we're really going to be in trouble. We're going to get stuck.
We're going to be rejected and lost. And what's amazing is that it is only in the disappointments, the rejections, the loss. It's only in life's interruptions, those moments. That's when we're living, not when things are going well. We're living in the disappointments because we're not challenged in our responses when things are going well. We're only challenged in our responses during the disappointments. So that's why those are so valuable, because that's where we evolve, which is what we want.
Exactly. And I know that point is going to really, it's going to resonate with everyone, because even those in the business who have already had success, some of them fear taking things to the next level because that's a little bit scary. And they've had the success and they kind of feel like, okay, I'm going to stop here, because what's at that next level is going to involve some rejection and some
exactly.
And I don't think I want to go there. So I'm going to stay here. So I know it resonates with them, but I know it really resonates with the newer coaches as well, because they're just at this point now where they have to put themselves out there. And they may have a successful career in a corporate job, or they may have, just success in their life, and or they feel very accepted by friends and family. And this is that risk. Mm-hmm. Like, oh goodness, what if people don't accept this? Or what if suddenly they think I'm weird, or suddenly they think I'm involved in something crazy? And so, yeah, I think what you just said is really hitting home with so many people right now.
Yeah, you've got nothing to lose. It's going to happen anyway, bottom line. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, Michaela, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been absolutely mind-blowing and in more ways than one. And like I said, a truly unique call from any of the other calls that we've had. I mean, we've definitely never had someone of your expertise speak on something like this. I mean, we've all talked about, disappointment and loss and limiting beliefs from our own perspectives, but none of us have been able to really make sense of it, because we don't fully understand how the brain works, the way that you do and the way that you've worked with people. So this really just brings so much clarity and helps us understand what we need to do to move past those feelings that we're having that are really just coming from our younger selves. And it just is like a weight lifted off my shoulder just to know this. And I think everyone else is going to agree with that. So thank you for your time. I'm sorry you had a rough morning with a client. I hope everything's okay.
Everything's great. If anyone if you want to give my email address too, because I know some people might have specific questions, you can feel free to do that. It's just drmichaela@gmail.com.
Awesome.
And maybe we'll need to do a part 2 call just to come. I mean, this is a lot of material to cover, Janelle.
Yes, yes, it is. Thank you. I loved it. Okay, you guys, we're going to go ahead and close out the call. I just want to thank all of you for getting on today, and thank you for your patience. It was obviously well worth it. I really hope that you will pass this on to your team members. This call is needed for every single coach, even if it's someone that you think is actually not going to work the business and they're actually just doing this business for the discounts. Half the time when someone says, I'm just going to do it for the discounts, they are afraid of failing. They're afraid of letting you down. They're afraid of letting themselves down. A lot of these people who say they're doing this for the discounts are actually doing it. They're actually saying that because they're afraid of failure. They actually do have a voice and they want to help other people in fitness, health, and nutrition, but they're afraid. So even for those people, this is the type of training and YouTube Live, I'm going to make it public, that everyone and anyone can benefit from. So I hope you'll share it. Okay, with that, you guys, we will see you next week. Michaela, thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Janelle.
Absolutely. All right, guys, have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.